Hello and welcome to another conversation about conversations. I am your co host, Jacob Kubrak, and with me, as always, is author, podcaster, legend, Ivan Farber.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob, legend maker.
Thanks, buddy.
I feel like that could be like the introduction at the beginning of the hockey game. Weighing in at blank, 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 blank. Coming in at 5'5", so barely belongs on the hockey rink.
5'7" with skates.
The author, the man, the legend, Ivan Farber.
5'8" with skates.
I wish I was. I mean,
Skates add
anyway,
about 2.5, 3 inches.
when you're sitting down, I'm as tall as my wife.
There you go.
When
That's all that matters.
When she's sitting down. Yeah, I have it's not in the legs, it's the upper body. It's the upper body where I have the height. So that's not the subject of this episode. The subject of the episode is the show. But
Okay.
I got to this point about thinking about the show because I passed a milestone this week.
Okay.
It's not a milestone that I think most people have, but 5 years ago when I started writing for public consumption, like rather than just writing in my own journal and things. I started writing and I started posting online. I started a log. And so each time I would write something and post something, I put it up, I'd log it. And then each time I did a video, I'd put it on a log. And so I kept logging. And what I want you to know is that, and I want you and our audience to know is I'm afraid to post and share things. Now, I'm less afraid. Be afraid. Be very afraid. I'm less afraid now because of the repetitions. It's like I didn't have a developed courage muscle and I kept doing it. But like at the beginning when I was writing articles, I'd draft the article Monday. I'd kind of edit it Tuesday. Then I'd be concerned about it. And so I'd work on it Wednesday. I'd be in my own basement and I'd read it out loud and I'd start to picture an audience. But I barely wanted to share it. And then by the time I got to Friday, which was post day, I'd pick up my hand and I'd move my hand over to hit post. And not only that, I had to take a deep breath and be like, and not only that, I had to give myself a pep talk. And I would say, Ivan, do it, do it, do it. I was egging myself on. So what was the milestone that I got to this week? 400. 400.
Big number.
It's a big number. So on my log, this will go on my log. The post I did yesterday, this written post about peeling a pomegranate, it's on the log. But still, I'm still scared.
Yeah. And you got to just stay positive because you got a good thing going. And just keep putting it out. That's all that matters, right? Because people are always looking for good things and quality conversations. And talking about the show, the show is for anybody that wants to have a better conversation, whether it's with themselves, whether it's with kids, family, whatever it is. There's little nuggets of how to have those, difficult conversations and the aspects of them and the process that goes into it. So you're doing a great job, buddy. Keep going. And the log, you don't have to sell yourself. I'll do it for you. The log and the fact that you have reference to all these things that come up in everyday stuff, that's just a benefit, and it's all free. That's what's amazing to me. There's no log for Jacob or or even a contact number, but you just reach out to Ivan if you want to talk to me. He'll handle all of that. We'll just put that author, podcaster, assistant to the the regional manager, secretary Ivan Farber.
This is the beginning of show 2.0.
2.0.
All right. The goal of this episode to explore with you and all of our audience out there is to become really clear about who the show is for, why it exists, and what we're outlining and I didn't know, maybe I was already doing it and you could see this, but I didn't think about it consciously. It wasn't until our recent guest, Patrick Galvin, was on about approaching service, approaching other people from an alpha point of service. That really stuck with me. And then I heard something else recently about you need to solve problems. There's a podcast called Podcasters Paradise, and they just say, if you're going to have a successful podcast, you have to solve people's problems. So that's where show 2.0 is going, is we want to solve problems. I think we already do solve problems. And the problem is conversations are not easy, right? Like, and there's a lot of people playing checkers, conversational checkers, and they would benefit from playing conversational chess.
Well, it's a hard thing, right, to even get into. I mean, the mechanics of it, right? The language barriers in some ways, right? If you know more words, you're gonna have a better conversation, or you can have a more meaningful conversation because there's more ways to describe things. But in general, whether you're speaking to yourself or speaking with someone else, people will definitely benefit from the show.
As we explore this, I want to use the journalist tactics,
Okay.
right? There's the journalist questions. More people need to be journalists in their conversations rather than serial monologists. Like having a serial monologue with somebody, rather making sure before they present a solution, try to resolve someone else's problems, that the person wants to have a dialogue about it, but ask the journalist questions. The journalist questions are the antithesis of what I call the Dr. Seuss questions, the Sam I Am questions. So the closed-ended questions that I find that everybody uses: did you, are you, do you, have you, could you, would you, in a box, with a fox, over here, over there. They don't really get to the crux of creating with somebody something that you can align with about the future. So the journalist questions. That was a long introduction to the journalist questions. I could have just said who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have. Now I did.
Should have, would have.
All right. So who is the show for? Now you maintain that it's for everybody.
Absolutely.
And it is. It is, in that we are all relationship managers. We all need to manage our relationships one conversation at a time. But I still want to put a little bit more shape around the who. So I'm going to do that.
Put as much color on the page as you need.
Paint the picture with all that we can do. So one group of people that I think it's for is business people. And specifically people that most of what they do is talk to people.
In a shirt and tie.
Excuse me?
In a shirt and tie.
In a shirt and tie. Oh, okay.
Right.
I heard something else.
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know what you heard there, but in a shirt and tie. And people that don't wear shirt and ties and show up to meetings in t-shirts and stuff, that's good too, because
right,
we could talk about business attire and how that improves your chances of having more success and things like that. But this is why, like I said, that the show is for everybody. Like if you're looking to have conversations with yourself or someone else, you're going to benefit from the show.
Yes.
Now, if you want to have a specific business, finance, or whatever conversation, you got to hit up Ivan personally.
That's what this show is. It's for business people.
Fair enough.
Business people have personal lives. They do.
I think this show is also great for coaches.
Yes.
People that want to influence others.
Yes.
Parents, just mainly because you need to have conversations with your kids. You can't be a serial monologuist there. And so we're really encompassing all the people out there. That's what makes it so great. This is why you're you're the Joe Rogan experience, just in a different positive light.
You don't think Joe Rogan is positive?
I think
I
he
don't
he
personally.
I mean, he definitely wakes up thinking positive and all those things. And you know, he's obviously had great success. So I'm not going to say anything there, but you know, what he talks about is what he feels. And th- you know, that's the way it is. And we have that same opportunity, right? We can
Yes.
come out here and talk about those same whatever we want. We just choose to do the things that we think will appeal to people that are looking to be successful and have good conversations.
Yes. That is
But
one. That is one of the people that I have in mind for who's listening, and who I want to be listening is people that are looking to be successful.
there you go. And,
Definitely.
and that's all it is. And that's not an overnight thing. That takes time. And congratulations on 400 there for you, pal. You know, I think what is it at 500? We got to get you a silver stick, and then 1,000, it's a gold stick.
Well, you're thinking hockey. I'm thinking disco ball.
All
Disco
right.
ball drops.
All right. We'll get you a silver. We'll get you a silver stick and a golden stick.
I don't know how to ice skate.
That's all right. They're mini. They're like little pendants.
Oh, like, okay.
Yeah.
But I have 5 groups of people in mind.
Okay.
I think you have slightly different people.
I have all groups of people.
You
in
have
mind.
all.
Yeah.
You have all, but I have five groups. So one group are client facing professionals, people who you do put on a suit and tie or no suit and tie, but it's business conversation, salespeople, service people, relationship managers. Second group of people I have in mind, because I'm thinking of all the people that I can help solve problems for, because yes, conversations are ones we have with everybody, but so business people who are client facing, number one. Number two, direct reports. Like, how do you manage? I want to do an episode. How do you manage up? I have a new boss I'm starting with tomorrow. How do you manage up?
Okay.
He is and this is on a log. He's the 11th manager that I've had at this current company, and he's the 18th manager I've had in my career. So I've had a little bit of experience about managing up. Now, I'm not saying this podcast.
It's a lot of conversations.
Yes. I'm not saying the podcast isn't for managers, but I think there's a lot of resources for managers and not enough resources for people who are direct reports, who have to manage up.
Okay.
So number one, client-facing professionals. Number two, direct reports. Number three, introverts. Yeah, we're talking to introverts. Introverts who want to feel more confident in their conversations. And the way that the book and the show will help them feel more confident is by giving them a framework to have conversations. So client-facing professionals, direct reports, introverts, but also extroverts. But why I say extroverts is because there's a lot of extroverts who I know who rest on their natural interpersonal savvy. They like people. They get along with people. I'm not a natural extrovert. I'm in sometimes, right? Like no one is one thing all the time. But I see a lot of extroverts leaving business on the table because they're not disciplined. So we want to give the introverts a structure. We want to give the extroverts also a structure. And then the fifth group of people are people who are seeking self-improvement, people who want to be champions of conversations. And ultimately, we get all these people together, which, yes, all of these people, we're all of these people, and we create a better world, a better business world and a better world for all of these people. That's what I'm talking about. That's who we're talking to.
Fair enough. Everyone, I'm still standing behind that. And even if you're just passing along, browsing, and you listen to the podcast, you might find something useful. And again, whoever listens, mom, and your mom and whoever else is out there, aunts and uncles, whatever. Thank you. And sure, if anybody wants to listen, we're here for you.
My mom loved the episode with Patrick Alvin.
It was a good episode. There's a lot of them. We can towards the end of the year, or maybe when you get to like 1,000 or something, we could do like a top 20 or something. You know, just like we
Best
did.
of. We do the best of.
Best of, or the Christmas special. I'm getting a hat this year.
You are getting a hat this year?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting a red hat for Christmas if we do a Christmas episode.
Oh, you're getting one like an elf hat?
Yeah, like an elf hat.
We do this episode with elf hats on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's the who. Now we're not done though, because the journalist has more who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Who?
So what we're doing, right, is I think having conversations about influence. And in order to influence others, you have to have conversation skills. You have to be the best conversationalist that you can be in order to influence others. What are the problems that influence solves? Well, I have a list of 6.
Get at him.
All right. Number 1, influence helps you to get what you want from others. Jacob, you're a salesperson. So when you're having conversations with prospects, what is it that you want to get?
Agreement.
But what? But what agreement are you wanting?
To sign the line that is dotted.
To sign the line that is dotted. Of course, a reference to Glenn Ross, the famous scene where he's teaching them how to sell. To sign on the line that is dotted. So that's one influence that can come from a conversation. I'm going to come at it from a service point of view, and that is influence others so that they get what they need, which is not at all mutually exclusive from you getting what you want and what you need. In fact, it's mutually inclusive. But I find as someone who's a little bit more focused on the service side and relationship management, people are resistant to getting help with what they need. And not only are they resistant, but sometimes they're just ignorant. And I don't mean ignorant like, well, some of them are ignorant. You ignorant. But some of them are just, they don't know what they don't know.
A lot of people don't know what they don't know. And I will say that when you're at a firm where the client benefiting is right in line with you benefiting, it makes things a lot easier. Whereas if you're in a situation where you're trying to influence and you know it's not going to help that person or those people that you're trying to help ultimately.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So number 1 is to get what you want. Influence so you get what you want. Number 2 is to influence to help other people get what they need and want. We'll do an episode on needs versus wants. That's something that I've given a lot of thought about.
We're going to do so many more episodes. Where do you think it'll stop? Like you'll stop doing episodes. Like you're at 400. Do you think you'll stop at like 20,000?
I have no idea.
Like what is mathematically
my goal right now is to do 2 episodes a week or 100 episodes a year. So that's the goal right now. Could we do more than that? Sure. But, like I think I'm like 17,700 days old, something like that. And like, if you live yes, that's another thing. I count my life and things in days. My oldest client, may she rest in peace, she made it to 35,000 days. But I mean, given that, I'm in the second half. I'm in the third quarter. I think you're a little younger than I am.
Yeah, I'm not
You're in the
not too
second
far.
quarter. You're in
Yeah,
the second quarter.
yeah. That's wild that you got in days. But I try to talk about this to my son, because he's 9. He's gonna be 10, a couple months, and it's just like, dude, you've got 8 years before you're 18, and like all these things are gonna change in your life, and like you're just going into the best part of it, and it's so easy to get lost in that stuff and forget how to be a kid, and just wild. But yeah, man, we're gonna do something special for every 100 episodes. All right,
Yeah.
we'll
We're
do
going to
something.
wear, in this case, we're going to wear a red hat, elf
Yeah.
hat, because
Okay.
it'll be about year end.
Okay.
Because this is the 79th episode of this year.
Wow.
And we're right on pace. You're learning more and more about me, how I manage things. And I'm right on pace. It's about, well, what is this? It's like 77% of the year. All right, but and I've got this app that counts days. So like my son is 17, so like how many days is that? That's 6,000. He's 6,256 days old. My career started 9,617 days ago. And okay, I'm 17,718. That's a whole nother episode. We
Yeah,
are so we're so far off of the 6 kinds of influence. All right, so let's get back on track. But you enjoyed that tangent.
I love having the conversations. I think it's good. It's fun to hear how successful people create and kind of view things differently, right? Like one of my favorite stories is how Elon Musk like had sold some stuff, and he had money in the account. He's like, hey, I'm just gonna launch this rocket into space, and like the only place he could find the rocket was like the Russians, and they were like, it's 10 million. And the accountant calls him, he's like, hey, you've only got like 10 million in the 100 grand. And he's like, all right, so we got enough then, right? Like just nothing standing in the way. And so you got to see how people view things, and how they converse, and how they approach those conversations with themselves. And I enjoy that. So keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
The logs, and I could do a whole episode on keeping a log of thing that really helps me, because like I know I've done a lot of sharing, but I didn't know it was 400 sharings. Now I know.
Now
All
you
right.
know.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Half.
So number 1, influence others to get what you want. Number 2, influence others to help them get what they need. Number 3, influence people so that you have collaborative conversations. Not enough conversations are collaborative. Too many conversations, and we see this in society, are contentious. I mean, just imagine the debates that we had this week between the 2 presidential candidates. Like, we witnessed contentiousness. But I mean, I see it too in people that I coach, or people that I should probably coach, is that they fight with their clients, or they fight with prospects. We're too quick to say, no, you're wrong. But the important thing about collaboration is that's how you actually get what you want and help them get what they want. You have to collaborate. And so the kinds of conversations that my book is about, that I stand for, are collaborative. They're not just collaborative, but that's one element of it. They're collaborative, 1, they're needs-based, 2, and they're consultative.
Those are pretty good things right there.
So influence to help them get what they want, what you want. Influence to help them get what they want and need. Influence so that you can be collaborative, and you absolutely need skills to make it collaborative. And then number 4, we're going to be concrete here. Influence others so that you can get more money, more power, more respect, so that you can achieve more. Because there's one thing, and yes, you have to get them to sign in the line that is dotted to get some of these things, but I don't think it's a bad thing that you set out. I mean, we know people set out to make more money, get more power, get more respect. And that's what this show is about, is conversations that can help you get what you want. Those are things that that you want. Or freedom. Jacob, you were telling me why you moved states is to get freedom. One of the reasons to get freedom.
You got it. Freedom.
Freedom isn't free, my friend.
It's definitely not.
All right, number 5 is influence others. And this goes right back to our last episode. Influence others so that they can be positive and you can be positive, and that you in your relationships can move through life in a positive way. And then the number 6 is much larger than that. It's influencing others so that you can make a positive contribution to the world.
That could be number 1.
Could be. It depends if you're doing a count up or a count down.
True. However you want to do it. They're definitely all inclusive and all important.
You know, one of the things that works well about you co-hosting this with me is that we think about things very differently.
Very differently.
We do. And I wonder sometimes if it would be better for the show if we thought about things similarly, but I keep coming back to, no, this is good. This is good for the people, because some of the ideas I have should be wrestled with. They really should be. And they're not going to fit everybody.
Yeah. Sure. However you want.
All right.
It's all good. You're doing
We've
a great
talked
job.
about who and what, when. I mean, when is a little bit obvious, right? Like when you're reading the book, when you're listening to the podcast, when you're watching the YouTube channel. One when that we're going to add, Jacob, and I'm scared about it. We're going to do some live. We're going to do some conversations about conversations live. And we're going to do some courses, webinars at some point too.
Sounds great.
That's more where. Who, what, when, where, why. Why? Well, I think we've talked about the why. Why is to make a difference. And how? I mean, how do we do that? How do we make a difference this way? We make a difference by having the conversation about conversations. All right, I covered what I wanted to cover.
You got it covered.
Got it
Absolutely.
covered.
Thank you for having me. As always, it's a privilege.
Yeah. So
keep
we
doing
wrap
what you're
up.
doing.
I'm sorry. I talked when you were talking. What?
I said, keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for being a part of this conversation about conversations. I want to speak one more thing, and that is to anybody who made it this far in the episode. You deserve a gold star
Or a book.
or a book. So for the next 9 people who reach out to me and schedule a conversation with me, I'm going to give you a copy of the book.
Boom.
Boom. There goes the dynamite.
Freedom's not free, but conversations
free.
are.
That's another episode. You be well, my friend.
All right, buddy.